Hi.
Hello, and welcome to Knock, Knock, Hi with the Glaucomfleckens.
Hi.
Dr.
You're,
Glaucomflecken.
Chipper.
Lady Glaucomflecken.
That's right, Will and Kristin Flannery.
Well, I was thinking, I was taking our kid to school today, and they mentioned there's this trivia quiz that happens like on the way,
On
in
the
that
radio.
time on the radio.
Mhm.
It's like 5 questions, and me and our daughter are always like, yelling at the people, like, "What are you're an idiot? Why are you doing? This is so easy." There's a question today.
Sounds
Let's see
like
if
a nice way to wake up.
We're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yep.
So one of the questions in the quiz, and let's see if you can get this.
Okay.
Was this is the name of the longest running Broadway musical of all time.
Of all time.
Yes.
Well, Wicked came to mind first, but I don't know if that would be all time.
That's too recent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
All time. Most shows.
most
Most total shows.
Oklahoma?
Oh my God. I'm asking the wrong person. Oklahoma?
I'm just trying to think of like something that's old.
Oklahoma, where the wind blows on the plains.
Is that even a Broadway play, or was that just a musical like movie?
I have no idea.
I don't either. We're really
okay, so
exposing our ignorance
my
here.
guess was, in the moment, was Cats.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I was like very
That's a
certain
good
it was going to be
guess.
Cats, but it's not Cats.
What is it?
Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
It's something like 15,000 shows.
Wow.
Phantom of
I
the Opera.
don't categorize that as a Broadway play in my mind. I
It's a
categorize
musical.
it as like, I mean, it is. Right. I don't know
Yeah.
why I categorize
Dun,
it
dun,
differently.
dun.
I think of it as like a music.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Anyway,
Music piece.
when I did my musical opening, that was channeling Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
You know.
All I can hear now is Oklahoma. I can't.
I probably can't even like. It's one of those musicals, I think, because I've never seen Phantom of the Opera performed, but like you just the songs, like the melodies, just kind of like in.
Right. That's why I think of it more as just music, because that's where I have experienced it. I've never seen it.
There you go. Phantom of the Opera.
Now we know.
Okay, so today I've got a couple things for you. One, I was going to save it for Knock Knock I, but I want to get your reaction to it. Anyway, we'll get to why in a second. It's a news story that just came up recently.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about another thing I've been talking about a bit on Knock Knock I side, but I want a non-medical.
Okay.
I need you to weigh in and mostly just ask questions. Because I want...
I got no problem doing that.
So it's the topic of corporate practice of medicine.
Yeah.
And the recent happenings in Oregon this year that recently occurred. And I want to explain it in a way that everybody can understand. Because I think it's really important and honestly could impact healthcare like throughout the country.
Right.
If the right dominoes fall.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get to that after the break.
Okay.
First, I want to tell you.
Oh boy.
It's not funny. It's not funny, but it is. I mean, it's just like a little bit funny. It's a totally preventable situation.
Okay.
But, so Thermos, the company.
Okay.
They make.
I'm familiar.
You know what they make?
They make thermoses.
Thermoses.
Yes.
I didn't realize that Thermos is
a name.
Is a
brand name.
Company. It's like Kleenex.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
Kleenex actually just tissue.
Correct.
Thermos. I always thought thermos was just a word that type of container is called a thermos.
Yeah. There's got to be a term for when this happens, when like a brand name becomes the name for the thing, like crayon,
chapstick,
or Crayola, right? Or like chapstick.
Wait, crayon?
That was wrong. Crayola.
Crayon is just
a word.
Are you sure?
I think so. I don't know now. You're making me doubt it. Also, there's a running debate in our household about, is it crayon or crayon?
No. Okay. So our youngest says crayon. She's like CRAN.
Yeah.
Crayon.
There's like a hint of a Y in there. Crayon.
It's like legit crayon.
Yeah.
Which is not.
That's just
like
wrong.
Cranberry. It's like crayon and vodka.
Right.
And actually, be vodka and crayon. I got in trouble once ordering a drink.
Did you?
Because I said the non-alcoholic part before the alcoholic part.
Oh,
it's a very pretentious bar. It matters, I guess. You don't want to say vodka and crayon.
Okay.
Jack and Coke,
Sure.
right?
Alright,
If
yeah.
you say Coke and Jack,
That's weird.
people look at you like you've never had a drink or you've never
Or
been to a
like you
bar
might be
in your
ordering
life.
cocaine.
So, yeah, that's like the code word for it.
Yeah.
So that's one. So I gotta look. I'm not sure if Crayola or crayon is one of those situations. But Kleenex, chapstick is
Yes.
another one.
Mhm.
I guess Thermos now. I can't think of any others.
Not
But
now. Always.
no, always right. In my mind, this just happened in
Yeah.
my head. Okay. So anyway, Thermos,
Okay.
the company,
Mhm.
recalled 8 million
Yikes.
bottles of their
Okay.
bottles that obviously have lids.
Mhm. There you are, a thermos.
They're designed to keep the temperature stable
Yes.
of whatever is inside them.
Correct. That's
But
the therm. You see that, right?
yep. But and these were bottles that apparently were made quite a while ago. These are like 2008.
Oh.
So, but what they've found, there have been enough people that this has happened where what people have been doing is leaving food in them for so long that gases build up. And this is why I wanted you to weigh in on this.
Just no already. Nope. Nope.
Gases build up.
Mhm.
And then the people,
Open the lid.
as they're opening the lid,
get
there's
hit in the
a
face.
little piece of the lid that's like supposed to be a vent.
Uh-huh.
If it's closed, they open the lid. It pops so forcefully that it is blinding people.
Whoa. Ew. That's not funny for the people.
No, it's terrible.
It is. But what it is absurd and surprising.
I've got a couple questions. Obviously, the first one is like, what's in there? What are you keep? What are
It could be all sorts of things, right?
people keep food in thermoses?
Like even if you just keep your ranch dressing in the fridge too long and then you
okay, I
try to
guess
use it, it explodes.
that is forceful gas.
Yeah.
Forceful, and then also I'm trying to think of like the geometry of this. So you're opening like people like this, like pointing the thing at their face, opening a
Well, maybe if they're
lid.
trying to I imagine
Like you're
listen.
maybe like this. Like,
Listen. If there's been food in there for that long, I'd imagine the lid is probably kind of stuck.
real tight. Yeah.
So they might just be like trying to see, right? Like
Yeah.
really get in there.
Yeah, maybe they're holding it real close to their body to
Could
get
be
more
that too,
leverage, and it's
yeah.
like right underneath their face, and they're kind of
Mhm.
looking down, like cranking it, and then
Right.
I can't smell it. First of all, you've had a horrific eye injury, and you're surrounded by the worst smelling thing that you probably ever experienced.
Yeah. I doubt they
It's a
notice
double whammy.
in that moment though, because they're probably
It's
just
the
in
eye
pain.
problem, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so it's I think what I'll do on the knock knock eye side of I won't bore you with it is like what exactly those injuries
Uh-huh.
would be.
Blunt force
Blunt force
blindness.
trauma. Blunt force blindness.
Is that a thing? I just said it.
Oh yeah, you can
That's
get
what you say? Blunt force blindness?
Well, no, you say, well, it's blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can result in blindness.
Right. And is that condition called
Well,
blunt force blindness?
no, that can like if you're choosing the ICD code, like what you would call it
Yeah, blunt
in
force
the
trauma.
chart. No, you wouldn't. It would be like whatever the actual diagnosis is. Just the
Oh.
mechanism is blunt force trauma.
Gotcha.
So like open globe injury.
Mhm.
So you can hit your eye hard enough with enough force that it causes a rupture.
Is that what's happening with these thermoses?
Could be
Ugh.
hard enough. And then you got also blood filling up the eye. That's called a hyphema
Mhm.
or a vitreous hemorrhage.
Mhm.
You can also get retinal detachments.
Yeah.
Your retina.
Uh-huh.
It's just kind of floating in the breeze,
Sure.
just flapping around, not doing anything.
None of these are good.
No. Or you could
So
also
where's the part where you're not boring me with the eyeball stuff?
another thing you can get is traumatic optic neuropathy. Hard enough trauma.
That sounds bad.
It shears fibers of the optic nerve, just like ripping it,
Mhm.
causing
Here's
permanent
my
vision
question.
loss.
I wonder. I mean, look, I am squeamish about eyes. So there's that, right? I've never really wanted to know the details of ophthalmology because it's icky.
Sure.
But here's what I wonder. Any of you other medical spouses out there or medical partners or people just stuck to medicine in some way, like it or not, are you also just not interested in hearing about your spouse's specialty one more time. Like,
Yeah.
especially,
Hey,
having been there from the beginning, you guys talk about medicine all the time. Like, that's all that you talk about.
that's all.
So,
It's like 97% of our brain is used for
exactly.
that
So, I
purpose.
wonder if this is more of a medical spouse issue or if this
Yeah.
is just like a particularly
I
ophthalmology
want
issue.
I want our listeners for who are non-medical spouses, or if I mean, if you are a non-medical spouse listening,
Or even if you're a medical
but if
spouse,
you're a
but you have to
medical
hear about the other person's specialty all the time. Like,
wait, medical. So non-medical spouse, I interpret that as their spouse is in medicine, they are non-medical.
correct.
Right. Okay. So, or if you are a medical doctor,
Mhm.
person, medical professional, and you have a spouse who is not in medicine, can you talk about some kind of gross thing that's normal for you in your job, and then take a quick picture of your partner's face? And if that's okay with you all, email it to us. We want to see it, and we'll
If
just
it is okay with your
of
partner,
course, if you're fine,
with the
we
partner.
won't share it anywhere. We're not posting anywhere. We just want to be validated, and if your partner looks at you the way Kristin looks at me whenever I talk about
You
these
know what?
things, we want some
This is a
validation.
very one-sided, like, this is not a fair representation,
Why?
because imagine if I talked to you
Uh-huh.
in detail
Uh-huh.
a lot
Uh-huh.
over years
About.
about the things that I have specialized in or do at work or
I
what
love
have you.
hearing about all that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm always I mean, it's
Yep.
fantastic. So
Exactly. See?
just to wrap up this story here, the recall
Mhm.
is so these thermoses,
Thermi?
these thermi were available from March 2008 through July 2024. So they
Okay.
actually the
They've been
recalls
in,
for
yeah,
they've been
sure.
around forever. Um,
But they've been
cons-
sold recently.
Consumers are urged to stop using the recalled products immediately. So go check it out if you have
I
one
would
of these.
imagine
Be
just
careful.
if you have
Just
if
don't
you
point it.
have a thermos at this point, like, who has that's not been, unless you bought it since
Yeah.
2024, how would you know when you bought that thermos?
Well, you wouldn't. But I know that Thermos is. I did hear someone say that Thermos is offering like a new one. Like they'll if you
They'll replace it.
yeah if you send it in
Okay.
because these cost like $30 or even more.
I gotta imagine, though, that the
Thermos.
whoever's in charge of this situation at Thermos,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta imagine there's a little part of their brain that's like, "Okay, we will fix this.
Yeah.
However, why are you doing that?"
Well, you can't say those types of things
No,
out
of
loud.
course not. But, like, I bet they're thinking it.
Probably. Like just don't leave the food in there for
And I guess
actually
you're
I
opening it
wonder,
maybe to finally clean it out. It's like, what? Are you gonna eat that?
you
Like,
know,
why are you getting in there?
I wonder if it's
I have
I
questions.
wonder if it's
I'm not victim blaming, I just have
they
questions.
said if perishable food or beverages are stored in a
Yeah.
container for an extended period of time, the stopper can forcefully eject when opened,
Uh-huh.
which can result in serious impact injury and laceration hazards to the consumer.
Oh, because it lacks a pressure
Yeah, they don't
relief
have a pressure
mechanism.
release mechanism.
Okay.
These are the
Yeah,
Thermos
that's on Thermos. That's a problem.
Stainless King food jars. Oof,
All right.
rough. Okay, so anyway,
Oh, and the Sportsman
be careful out there,
food and
folks.
beverage bottoms.
Just don't point anything. Generally, when
Yeah,
you're opening
just
anything in
don't point
life,
stuff at your face.
don't point stuff at your face
I can't think
because
of any time when it would be a good idea to point something at your face.
mm,
Can you?
uh good question. What do you point directly at your face? It's like a water spray bottle if you're
If
hot.
you're hot, maybe. Yeah.
What else? When you in your shower, you want to waterboard yourself.
But why would you do that?
It's uncomfortable.
I don't recommend it.
Are you a forward
I
standing?
stand, yes, where the water hits my back.
So you're facing away from the shower
Yes.
spigot.
I don't like getting sprayed in the face.
But you're also short.
Uh-huh.
And so
Right, if I stand forward, I will waterboard myself.
blasted in the face.
Yes.
I'm like a rotisserie chicken in there. Yeah, I get
Because
hot.
your head is above the shower
That's
head.
right. I'm just another wonderful advantage of being a tall human being. And I get hot on one side, and I just gradually kind of turn around. I just get my whole body. I'm just roasted.
Well, lucky for you.
How hot? Because we have like a temperature gauge on our shower.
I don't know how accurate that is because
it's probably not, but I just know where I am.
Yeah. I start. Okay, I really don't think this is the actual temperature because this would probably feel cold. Okay, but what it says on the thing is I start at like 87.
That's too cold.
Somewhere in there, just to start because it's too much of a change from going room temperature straight to scalding.
Okay.
So
then you get up to
I start at 87. It's like warm. Again, these are not the real numbers. Probably
is actually.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, then what do you get to?
And then I get to like maybe 92, like a 5-degree range.
Because there's like a running like bit across social media that women like are like lobsters, and like
they want it hotter,
just scalding hot, like you'll love just being hot in there, and just it's like overwhelming.
But like that
amount of heat.
Okay, I don't like an overwhelming amount of heat in any situation.
Okay.
Like saunas, I don't like saunas.
Is that the perimenopause speaking?
I think that's just me.
That's just you.
I have never liked overwhelming heat.
I remember some periods of time when you've been too cold. You just want the
Yeah, sure. But like I don't want it to be like I'm scalding.
Yeah, okay.
Or
you wouldn't consider yourself a rotisserie chicken in that.
Well, rotisserie chicken's got nothing to do with that, but I don't consider myself a lobster.
Okay, you're not a lobster shower. Okay.
No, I'm more of like a tropical fish.
Mark it down, folks. That's what now we know. Now we know. Okay. Let's get into. So here's what I'm going to set this up before we take a break.
Okay.
So this thing in Oregon. I know you've been like tangentially aware of it because I've been talking about it all the time and listening to the testimony and everything. But it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's the little guy against the big guys. It's like everything that makes a compelling story,
right?
And courtroom drama.
Yeah.
And I am hooked. It's like as we record this, there's some testimony going on, and I'm like, okay, can we
hurry this up so I can listen to the testimony again?
Yet here I am talking about like being, rotating myself in a shower. So like, what's the point? And so let's take a break. I'm gonna come back, and I'm just gonna give you the rundown because I've been explaining it to people from my own brain.
Yeah.
I want someone who will ask questions and like, wait, what do you mean? Like, what is the purpose of that? Like someone who's not in medicine. Right. I just want to make sure it all makes sense to you because this is something that I think everybody in the country needs to be aware of is happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make sure I am explaining it.
Well, and that so other people can explain it too. So our listeners can explain it to people they know.
So we'll just make it real clear to everyone. Okay. All right. So let's take a break. We'll come back and do that. Okay. Hey, Kristin, remember how you love eyelid mites now?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of confusion out there. I want to clear something up.
Okay.
All right. People think they can get eyelid mites from dogs and cats.
Can they?
No. These particular Demodex mites are specific to humans.
Okay.
So spread from dogs and cats is not expected. That's a myth.
Can't get them from cuddling our poodle.
No. Demodex mites that cause blepharitis live on humans. Most adults already have them. They just usually don't cause problems. It's when they overgrow that they can lead to itchy, red, irritated eyelids. Those little collarettes.
The crusties at the base of the eyelashes. Right. And the good news is there's a prescription eye drop available for Demodex blepharitis.
That is great news. To learn more about eyelid health and Demodex blepharitis, visit miteslovelids.com. Again, that's miteslovelids.com to learn more. This ad is brought to you by Tarsus Pharmaceuticals. Hey, Kristin.
Yeah.
You know how people probably know we love Cozy Earth?
How?
We're recording with a bed in the background and a Cozy Earth blanket nearby.
That is true.
Just in case.
Yep. I've got one in just about every room. I never want to be without them. They're so soft.
And you work from home, so you look really cozy most of the time.
Yeah. I love a good cozy lounge outfit. I cannot wear hard pants when I'm in my home.
So like the bamboo jogger set.
Exactly.
Those look great.
I can work and be comfy, and then I could also just pop out and run to the grocery store, pick up a kid from school.
And your feet. I've been seeing you wearing the clogs.
Yeah, those are really comfy.
It's a cushioned footbed, the soft interior. It makes me want to work from home.
I know.
And now Cozy Earth gives you a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty on their products. This spring, give yourself the kind of comfort that lives with you all day, not just the moment you get home. Head to CozyEarth.com and use my code KNOCK for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here on Knock Knock Hi. Comfort lives here. Corporate medicine is on trial. And it's not really it's a hearing. It's more of a hearing. It's a federal...
Is that the noise?
That's right. It's a federal hearing, law and order. And this stems from a lawsuit filed this year, earlier in 2026, between Eugene Emergency Physicians. This is a Democratic, independent, physician-owned group.
Can I tell you something right there?
What's up?
Here's the thing non-medical people don't know. I did not know. I still only kind of know what that means. That it's... No, hold on. I want to explain what the issue... Because when I think about my doctor, I think, okay, they're a doctor that works at XYZ hospital. So therefore, they are part of that organization. I am not aware as a non-medical person if it's I don't even fully understand why this happens, but I'm just going to go with it, right? There's these independent groups that come in and I guess they contract with hospitals to be their emergency physicians. But even that right there, just this setup here is something that non-medical people are they're going to be like, what?
Okay, well, let me explain. So in emergency medicine, in a lot of different specialties, especially specialties who do work in a hospital.
Okay.
Members of that specialty, of that group, they'll just imagine you just have a bunch of emergency physicians out there in Oregon, in the Eugene area.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, we should form a company together, just us emergency physicians. And then
see, in my mind, that's a private practice. Is that correct?
It is, yep. Okay. It's a private practice. So it's private because they personally own it. It's not a nonprofit.
Right.
It's owned by physicians.
But I don't think a private practice practicing in other businesses, other hospitals, right? I think of people coming to that building of the private practice.
Right. Private practices are that insinuates physicians practicing together in a company. And what they will do in emergency medicine and others, but we're talking about emergency medicine, is they will go to hospitals and they'll offer their services. And so a contract is formed between the hospital and the physician group. Okay?
So they don't have their own building where their practice
not in emergency
patients.
Medicine. We do in ophthalmology because that's what I'm in. I'm in a practice, my own practice. We own our building. Emergency medicine,
because people go to the hospital for that.
For emergency medicine, yeah.
There's not standalone emergency.
There are, but not. That's not what we're talking about here.
Okay. But hey, listen, you're the one that wanted the non-medical question.
I know. We do have to go a little bit faster than this. Okay, so for 35 years, this group has had this contract with Peace Health. Okay,
and Peace Health is
the hospital system in Eugene, Oregon. Okay, all right. Well, they're throughout the Pacific Northwest, but we're talking about right there in Eugene. There's a hospital called Peace Health Riverbend Hospital. Okay, there's a couple other smaller ones too, but that's the big one. Eugene Emergency Physicians had a contract with them for 35 years. And recently, Peace Health decided that they were going to do a request for proposals process because their contract with Eugene Emergency Physicians was running out. Right. In July of this year. It's going to be over.
Okay.
And so instead of re-upping with them, they're like, okay, hey, hold on, let's have other people reach out. Maybe other groups want to submit a proposal to get this contract.
How long has the contract been in place? Do they re-up every year?
It's usually 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so this is a normal part of the process.
Normal process.
But for 35 years, they have always just re-upped. Okay.
Now, there's a lot of background and a lot of strife and kind of tension between Eugene Emergency Physicians and Peace Health.
Mhm.
We're not going to get into all that.
'Kay.
Because the crux of this lawsuit
Mhm.
is that Peace Health, through this proposal process,
Mhm.
they graded Eugene Emergency Physicians very low on the
'Kay.
scoring.
Mhm.
And the group that won the contract was Apollo MD,
Okay.
which is what they call in emergency medicine a contract management group. So I'm going to explain that.
Mhm.
So this is as opposed to like a Democratic physician-owned group that's local that lives there,
Mhm.
this is a company that was formed in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And what
Formed, meaning
formed
the
by
people that work
the
there
people that
live there in
well, some
Atlanta?
of them, like they're
It's not just
the
like
admin.
well, on the paperwork it says Atlanta, but
No,
it's
they
like
have a headquarters
meaningful
there.
that they're in Atlanta.
They're a corporation, their headquarters is
Okay.
in Atlanta.
Okay.
And what they do is they go around the country to all these hospitals and do these proposal processes.
Mhm.
And then they will hire people to staff these hospitals.
Okay.
And usually it starts out at least as locums doctors.
Uh-huh.
So basically, once they got this contract awarded to them by Peace Health, they blasted locums requests
Uh-huh.
through to everyone's phone. Like pretty much every emergency physician was getting these,
Okay.
like several times a week. Come to Peace Health Riverbend, like
Yeah.
come staff these hospitals. Basically, to replace these Eugene emergency physicians who have been there for 35 years.
Right. How many people are we talking?
There's like 30 something in the group.
Okay.
So a lot of people,
Yeah.
big community. Eugene, Springfield area, it's like over 200,000 people. So we're
Mhm.
talking big deal. And so the lawsuit comes into play, number one, because there were some shenanigans with the proposal process. Like, was it
Mhm.
fair? Were there biases in place?
Mhm.
Were they graded fairly? And
Mhm.
Eugene Emergency Physicians compared to Apollo MD and the
Mhm.
other two that were involved. And then also, does Apollo MD, their corporate structure, them being out of state and coming into the state,
Mhm.
does that violate new state law in Oregon
Okay.
that
Which
was
is?
just passed last year that is specifically designed to prevent these management organizations
Mhm.
from influencing patient care from out
And
of state?
why are they management? Is it because really they're just like giant HR departments?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so
And how do they make money?
what they do, so they're called management service organizations.
Uh-huh.
And basically, they will charge the hospital that they have the contract with a management fee.
Okay.
And it's something,
So then they do all the hiring, all the
all
whatever.
the kind of background behind the scenes work. But often, and it's not technically the case with Apollo MD, but a lot of these types of things are private equity owned.
Mhm.
So you get into a tricky situation where, like, is the private equity machinery influencing what's happening on the patient care side?
Mhm.
Because obviously they want to turn a profit,
Right.
right? And emergency medicine is maybe the worst specialty to have this type of model, because how do you like focus on profitability
Yeah.
when it comes to emergency care?
Right.
A a a a setup where you have to see every patient that comes in through the
Right.
door. It's a
Is that
law.
okay? That was my question. That's a
It's
law.
a law. It's called EMTALA law.
Okay.
As opposed to other similar organizational setups in different specialties where the private equity MSO can say, "Oh, hey, we're going to stop seeing Medicaid patients
Mhm.
because they don't have any money,
Mhm.
and we're just going to see the people that have money." Like, and they're, it's kind of like, these are whisper thoughts that they don't want people to
Yes.
know.
Well, I mean, look, if you're a business, that makes sense. The underlying question is, should healthcare be a business?
Well, it's a business focused on, it- yeah, it gets different when patients' lives are at stake, right? So,
Mhm.
how much do you focus on profitability versus patient care, and what's that seesaw look like to you?
Mhm.
Because obviously, I run a private practice. We have to stay in business.
Right.
We have to pay everybody who works for us,
Mhm.
but we're also going to provide ethical care.
Yeah.
And so, how do you make that determination.
Right.
Someone like a physician owns a practice, they're going to have that ethos.
Right. They're
usually,
more likely to
right?
prioritize patient care.
Yeah, maybe sacrifice a little bit of money so that they can make sure that they're ethical in what they do.
Right.
Private equity might be the other way
because
they didn't take a Hippocratic oath. They don't.
Right.
So they're like, they bought up a practice. Hell yeah. Start doing what's the show me what's the most expensive procedure that can be done. Oh, let's do more of those.
Right.
That kind of thing.
So they're bringing a business mindset because they are trained in business versus people who've been trained in healthcare.
But there's this give and take that because healthcare delivery is a totally different beast.
Yeah.
Right. We're not making, AI models or computers. Like, this is a different thing. And so that's what this lawsuit is about, is whether or not the MSO Apollo MD violates this law.
Okay.
And we should know the outcome soon. The successful outcome here would be an injunction, which is where a judge decides there's enough plausibility that this is against the law that we need to delay this transition.
Okay, let me tell you, from how you have described it, I am unclear why this wouldn't be against that law.
Good question. Because in Apollo MD, what they say is, well, we're physician owned, and what they do once they get the contract, the contract is awarded to the company in Atlanta.
Yes.
But what they do is they establish an LLC in the state of Oregon.
Okay.
And they handpick a doctor. This one happens to be living and working in Illinois. And they say, hey, buddy, you're going to be the owner of this practice in Oregon.
Okay.
And that is who the contract is actually signed with.
Again, I don't understand how that wouldn't be in violation of the law. What is the law exactly? What does it say?
It prevents management service organizations like Apollo, exactly like Apollo MD, from being majority owners in a clinical practice.
Okay. And so the idea is that the majority owners would be physicians. Is that right?
Correct. Okay. And the way they're trying to get around it is by establishing this random LLC. And so there's a lot of layers to this. But Oregon's law...
But the contract didn't get awarded to the random LLC. It got awarded to Apollo MD.
Exactly. And that's one of the arguments for Eugene emergency physicians. Like, whenever this contract was given to Apollo MD, this dummy LLC didn't even exist yet.
Right. Yeah.
And Peace Health, in their testimony, they're like, well, we knew they were going to do it. We trusted them that they were going to create a new business in Oregon.
So they are trying to make the case that the law, it's fine who you give the contract to as long as the actual, business
and the person that owns the business
owner
is a physician and in the state. So, but there's all these shenanigans.
And the reason that they can make that case, which to me sounds like no stretch, is because this hasn't been tested. This law is brand new, so they're trying to kind of find where the loopholes are.
Correct.
Okay.
This is the first time this new law has been tested, and there's other similar laws in different states, but this is the more stringent version of it.
Okay.
And so it's being tested now, and if
has it been tested in the other states at all?
Not to this level.
Okay.
And if the plaintiff, which is Eugene Emergency Physicians, if they're successful and they delay this decision, first of all, terrible for Peace Health and for Apollo MD. Apollo MD is probably just going to pull out of the state.
Yeah, because now they're not making money. They got to go make money.
And they have 100 other contracts to focus on, right? So they would just lose out on a bunch of money. But also... Okay,
so then who's seeing the patients if all that happens?
Well, Eugene Emergency Physicians.
They would get to continue providing care?
Assuming they would be offered a contract. But at that point...
that's what I'm saying.
At that point, Peace Health doesn't really have any other options.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, we'll Well, just let the doctors who already work and are saying, have told them, we want to keep working here. Just let them keep working, right?
Right.
Who, by the way, 100% support from all the other doctors at the Peace Health and the nurses. So everybody, the community wants it. Everybody wants this.
Yeah.
Everybody wants this.
Right.
So, but what I'm even more excited about is the prospect of, if this being successful, if this law successfully deters this action, adopted or everywhere. All the other, so many other states are looking at this. If this is successful,
this would set a precedent.
Sets a precedent, and every other state can pursue this exact type of legislation and severely limit the influx of private equity.
Yeah.
Into.
But who's to say that other states? That is a very sweeping statement. So who's to say that other states
would want it?
Would
do it?
No. That just because it happened in this way in Oregon, that it would happen in that way in other states.
I mean, you're right, but the point is there's.
Because what you're saying is that everybody everywhere can do this.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you, you'd have to assume that basically the same language of the law would work in other states. Why wouldn't it? But
theoretically, it could be challenged in each state.
Well, yeah, anybody can keep challenging it and keep challenging it. But I think if you have a success in one state, then the fighting back those challenges is easier, because you're like, look, this has already happened in this other state, and look what happened.
Right.
It was put down. So
yeah.
So anyway, I'm excited. I'm so excited about it, and I'm just, for the first time in a long time, I'm hopeful that like a serious change can happen in the healthcare system. Now it's going to take a while, obviously, and this is just one state.
Yeah, that's my concern here is, okay, so lawsuits take forever.
Yeah.
The contract presumably runs out in July, you said, right? So.
Well, no, we're going to find out about this case very, very soon.
Okay, so it won't be the case that the lawsuit would still be going on and there's a lapse in a contract and patients have no doctors.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. All right. I think I've maybe bored people enough with healthcare system stuff.
I mean, look, it's a bunch of healthcare people listening. And I think that they are also invested in this.
I thank you, because I know you probably had 1,000 other questions that you could have asked me.
I did.
And maybe we'll get to them next time. We could have just done the whole episode like this, but I had to talk about our shower tendencies.
Sometime we should just do an episode where we just start somewhere and I just ask questions. We see where we end up.
Oh my God. All right. Let us know if you have any thoughts on this or any other ways to fix healthcare in this country. You can email us, knockknockhigh@human-content.com. Hang out with us and our Human Content Podcast family on TikTok and Instagram at Human Content Pods. Thanks to all the listeners leaving feedback and reviews. Shout us out on YouTube or on Apple or Spotify, or give us a review if you like what you hear.
That helps other people find this podcast.
Absolutely. And at Glauc is our YouTube channel. Full video episodes are every week over there. So leave a comment. We read those, and it helps us improve.
And we read the Apple and Spotify ones. I don't want to present it as though we don't read those.
I just tend to peruse YouTube a little bit more than the others. So reach out to us over there. We also have a new and improved, updated Patreon. So many cool perks. We are expanding it, getting help to run it, more engagement, more fun.
Because we are only 2 people, and we needed 3, apparently.
Bonus episodes where we react to medical shows and movies, early ad-free episode access, events, so much more. Patreon.com/Glauc. Speaking of Patreon community perks, let's shout out the Jonathans, shall we? Lucia C., Edward K., Marion W., Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C., Brown L., MP Cole, Tracy B., Mary H., Keith G., Parker, Muhammad L., David H., Kaylee A., Gabe, Gary M., Eric B., Marlene S., Scott M., Kelsey M., Dr. Hoover, Sean M., Ryan N., Jess K., Hawkeye M.D., Bubbly Salt, and Shawnee D. Patreon roulette time. Random shout out to somebody in the emergency medicine here. Shout out to Heather B. for being a patron. Thank you, Heather. And thank you all for listening. We're your hosts, Will and Kristin Flannery, the Glauc and Pleckins. Executive producers are Will and Kristin Flannery, Aaron Corney, Rob Golden, and Shanti Brook. Editor and engineers Jason Portiz. Our music is by Omer Benzvei. To learn about Knock Knock High's program, disclaimer, ethics, policy, submission, verification, license terms, HIPAA release terms, go to glaucandpleckins.com or reach out to us, knockknockhigh@human-content.com with questions, concerns, or fun medical puns. Knock Knock High is a Human Content production. Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen, or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Help you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.